Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Mike McDowd. Not sure if Russell's going to join us. He may be on assignment. And let's see here. At each commercial break, we are going to ask a trivia question. Let's see. I got one hard one, one harder one, and one really hard one, just for Mike.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'll give you some hints though, because some of these I wouldn't be able to know. And let's see, Mike, what's going on in the world of sports? I know we're going to introduce our guest in the next segment, but tell us.
Yeah, we're going to introduce. But yes, here I'm doing the roller coaster and the sprinkler, and I can't even make our special guest laugh yet. So I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble today. Hey, yeah, so we're going to talk to a gentleman. I consider him a friend. I think he considers me a friend too, I hope. His name is Henry Smith. He's with Edward Waters University in Jacksonville, Florida. His title is the Associate Athletic Director, Director of Facilities and Community Partnerships. So he's really involved in the business side of sports. We're going to talk to him. But also, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the AP Top 25 college football preseason rankings are out. And we have a new number one for the first time ever.
Are you going to tell us who it is?
Yeah, tune in. I mean, I got a little excited.
You're keeping us in suspenders again.
Yeah.
But that makes for good radio. That way people can always come back. All right.
Yeah. I'm not telling you who it is. You got to come back for the show. Come on. It's called a tease.
And it's funny. I'm trying to think of. I'm all set, ready to start recording the Little League World Series Championships, which is coming in about 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And in fact, Jonathan Anderson, who is the defending Little League World Series champion manager, was going to try to join us, but he's going to come on our next show, and we're going to talk about being the defending champ.
All right, audience, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown along with Mike McDowd, and Russell Jackman is in the house. And Mike, introduce our guest, if you will, please.
If I will, and I must, and I'm going to. Yes, really happy to have him aboard. He's a great guy, known in the world of college athletics, and in particular, knows everything about college athletics, in my opinion. I learned so much from him, and really is an expert in the world of HBCU, which is historically Black college universities. His name is Henry Smith, Associate Athletic Director, Edward Waters University in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'll tell you what, he's adorned in his EWU hat and shirt. And I'm telling you, Henry, Edward Waters, a.k.a. EWU Tigers, they're getting a lot of love nationally on this show. But welcome to the show. We'd love to have you aboard.
Yes, indeed. Thank you all for having me.
Sure, I love that.
Well, we had you on. We had Henry. We had Henry on before. We talked about that track meet in Jacksonville. Yeah, Bob Hayes. And so got to have him again. But one of the reasons we wanted to have you on, and we were talking to Edward and Russell. College sports is just a bizarre, weird place right now. I mean, it's so fluid, and I think we want to talk a little bit about the business side of things, but so the season is coming up in just a few weeks. Yes. What really makes your guest appearance very interesting in the wide pantheon of college sports is the fact that your school, not a big school, private institution, great education in the heart of Jacksonville, Florida, competitive collegiate Division II program, but you can say Division I, Division II, Division III. You can say junior college for all I care. But your head football coach, great guy, decided to leave for another job just about a month or less before the season. Wow! Talk about throwing a wrench into the what. I mean, how does a school deal with an issue like that? And like I said, it's a good,
Yeah, well, first and foremost, being able to maintain by having a a great staff underneath that particular coach who decided to depart. And one of the rational reasons for him departing was receiving the opportunity to advance with the mid-major institution of higher learning. So and what comes with that is you know and I know is economical opportunities. So he had to take it. I mean, you can't fault him for wanting to advance. That's what you like to see everyone do in life, is have the opportunity to advance to another level.
Yeah, but don't they usually do it at the end of at least like give them enough time to get a new coach in?
Well, I tell you what took place. What took place with this was the head coach at Tennessee State, where he transferred to, and you might be familiar with the coach over there, Reggie Barlow. He was also a USFL head coach for DC, for the DC team within the USFL organization. Well, before that, the both of them worked together at Virginia Union in Virginia. So they had co-working experience together from past relationship. So when the opportunity came for him to go, it was, how can you say it? It seemed to be a bit to the extreme, but it had already been in progress, and it just wasn't consummated until the time right after the media day. How about that?
You know,
right after the conference football media day. So we ran into that type of scenario. But lo and behold, we had a coach that could step up, whom has had a great journey in his coaching career. Speaking of Coach Brian Jenkins, who hailed from Temple and Rutgers University, as well as being head coach at Bethune-Cookman University here down in Daytona Beach, as well as being head coach at Alabama State University. Before having some medical problems that kind of sidelined him for a few before he got back into coaching. So those are the kind of things that in this world of collegiate sports now, you're going to see a little bit more of that, unfortunately. In yesterday's market, you will see coaches and players staying put for maybe 15 to 20 years. Now that's going to be a no-brainer because we're in a market of bid and process. So whoever has the best bid or whoever processes the best package, that's what's happening. And it's not only happening in the coaching world, it's also happening in the student athletes, meaning the name and likeness situation. For example, if you look at the University of Alabama and the University of Ohio, those two schools seem to be battling for the same blue chipper, and that blue chipper now has the option of saying, well, he offered me this, what can you offer me? And so it's a bid war. It's a bid war that takes place with student athletes. We thought we would only see that type of situation with the NFL, but now we're seeing it everywhere. And just to give you guys an example, the NIL deal, the name and likeness deal, has now hit what? The high schools. You got a kid that's playing for St. Thomas Aquinas down here in Fort Lauderdale that's making $5,000 a season. But now here's the trick to that, though, gentlemen. His parents did not know that they had to pay taxes on the money that he received. So when April came and the IRS sent that little thing saying you owe us $500 for the 10% of what your son received in the NIL deal, because Procter and Gamble did one thing: they reported it.
Sure.
Okay, so now it's a new world. it's a world that we're going to have to teach the student athlete how to be financially prepared, how to put your finances in place. And so and so that's the kind of world that business world that we're living in now. It used to be a thing I can give a kid a scholarship, feed him, give him the best dorm on campus. That ain't Jack anymore.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. And then I'll just real quickly, another great example of this type of fluid movement is the former California Golden Bear quarterback Fernando Mendoza leaves Cal for Indiana, and I think they're paying him. Edward, are you ready for this? Why do you think he's leaving? He's getting like $1.2 million at Indiana. Are you kidding me?
That'll make the bell ring. All right, you guys ready? We're going to do our first commercial break here. First trivia question: how high can a bottlenose dolphin jump? Now, you guys are in Florida, so you should know this. Like within a centimeter, you should. No, I'm just kidding. And give it. You can give me rough numbers here. How high can a bottlenose dolphin jump? All right, and I'm assuming they're still in the water. They jump out of the water. All right. Email Edward at sportsecon101. The answer to that question. We'll see who's the first one to answer that. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Mike McDowd, Russell Jackman, our special guest, Henry Smith. All right, trivia question number 1. How high can a bottlenose dolphin jump? Out of the water, obviously.
Henry, go ahead.
What do you think?
I'm gonna say he's good for at least 12 feet.
I'll say 8.
Wait, Russell, what'd you say?
I'll say 8.
8 feet.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to go 9. 9.
Add those two numbers together. 20 feet.
Holy cow!
Feet. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah,
I was pretty impressed with that.
Whoa.
All right.
20
Mike,
feet. Wow.
20 feet. Yeah. Yeah. I know. No, that's amazing.
pretty high.
All right. Mike, you want to reintroduce our guest? And you got a great question to ask him.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, Brian Henry Smith with Edward Waters University in Jacksonville, Florida. He's the associate athletic director there. Been in the sports game, what, Henry, 30 years plus? Or what?
Yeah, 32.
32. So knows this business inside and out. Happy to have him aboard. And we're talking about college football. We're talking about various aspects from the business side. And in particular, educate us, especially me. Edward's too smart. He doesn't need any education. And of course, we have an attorney on board as well. But give us an idea or enlighten us, surprise us, do something. Tell us about what happens from the business side of college athletics. That, of course, most of us, we go to a game. We'll go to a football game, a basketball game, a baseball game. But we have no idea, zero idea of what goes on behind the scenes, from the marketing, from the ticket sales to building corporate sponsorships. What kind of insight can you share that's really interesting that people don't know?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I always like to use this analogy to let people know that in show business and sports and entertainment business, it's always 75% business and 25% show. The major audience and fan base only has the opportunity to see a 2 to 3 hour performance. And within that 2 to 3 hour performance, it takes almost a year planning to put those games together. It starts out with first and foremost having contracts with the different institutions to make sure that everything is contractual and ready to go as far as the collegiate world, and also having conference agreements and making sure that those items are in place in order for the games to play. And then the major thing is making sure that risk management, your insurance, your safety, and all the process protocols for that is taken care of. The next thing is to solidify time, dates, and places where events are going to take place. Then your part after that is how you're going to staff your game day staffing, and how you're going to staff your security, your game day operations staff, your medical staffing. All those things take place, and then after you have come to the location conclusion, now you get into hiring officials through your conference, through what we call an arbitration category of being able to solidify those officials to officiate those particular games. So yes, it takes a year to put these games together, and football is the most monstrous for any institution, whether it be a D3, a D2, or D1 institution, because it takes more staffing for football than any other operations that you may have as far as the game day operations. Basketball is kind of mild for everybody, but football is the number one monster, because it takes time and effort to make sure that everything goes through properly, even permits and things of that nature.
Henry, really important. And Edward, I told this to you last year. I have I want to say I'm blessed to do the play-by-play football for Edward Waters. And there are certain things at these events that don't always go as planned. For example, a certain highlight was on ESPN and social media that made the national headlines. A gentleman who, I don't know, perhaps had a few too many Dr. Peppers, decided
that was
decided to run on
to run across the field and
during the game.
And then we had to reinvent Lawrence Taylor through our security system.
One of the officers in Edward Waters made a tackle that was it should have been the highlight of the game. It was unbelievable. All you could hear the crowd say is, "Oh," because man, it hurt. So I mean, there's things. I mean, you try to prepare for every scenario, but it's tough, isn't it?
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough when you got 5,000 fans in a venue, and then you got one fan that just is at that time was intoxicated and didn't even know where he was. He just wanted to follow the band on the field, and the band was gone, and so now he wanted to make his appearance.
Right. It was spiked Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
And you would think that that was planned, but no, it's not planned. We run into different scenarios, such as technical scenarios, such as security scenarios. You never know what's going to take place, so you try to have plans in place so that when these things do take place, everybody can click. And as you saw it clicked real quick.
Well, not only that, Edward, I got to make you laugh. And Russell, I was doing a game on the radio, and I'm in the broadcast booth. I swear to you guys, you won't believe this. It was a hot, humid day. All of a sudden, it's as if Edward Waters decided to move to San Francisco, because here comes the fog into my booth. My window started. I couldn't see the game. I literally could not see the game. So I had to look down the side, the other windows, because they were clear, but my window was not. So I mean, you never know what happens. And I had to be honest with the audience. I had to say, hey folks, this is what's going on. So we're going to do our best, but this is my reality. And the reality of what we see.
There was an old let's see, this had to be 1991. And I think was Philadelphia and the Bears or something, and it was so foggy. Watching the game live, and nobody could really see anything. It was hard. Even the players could barely see what was going on. Definitely made for a fun football game, though, even though you couldn't see much. All right, let's. Mike, you were teasing the audience about who's number one.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
Who was number one? I know who number one is, but Henry, do you know who number one is right now?
No, not this year. This is a tough task.
All right, here we go. For the first time ever, which is really, really hard. I said really, really 3 times, now 6 times. Check this out. The Longhorns of Texas are the number one team, which is a little, it's interesting. Arch Manning is what's going to happen with him. Penn State is 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson 4, Georgia is 5, Notre Dame's 6. Now to the West, Oregon's number 7, Bama's 8, LSU's 9, Miami's 10. You look at the top, Arizona State is at number 11. You look at the top 25, and obviously it's pretty much dominated by the SEC. Texas A&M. There's only 3 teams, Edward and Russ, from the West Coast. You got Oregon. Who else? Oregon's number 7. ASU is number 11. And then I got to tell you, man, it's pretty disappointing. Boise State's at number 25. And the rest of it's dominated by the Midwest and the South. So obviously the shift continues to flow. No USCs, no UCLAs, no Washington. So, I mean, there's been a huge shift in college football. And it's really sad for us West Coast people because we get no love.
Horns in the late 60s, early 70s being a real powerhouse. Yeah, I don't remember if they were number 1, but they were definitely a real powerhouse. They used to watch like Notre Dame football, and they'd also have Texas Longhorns. It was pretty amazing. Same thing with like Nebraska and Oklahoma. Tell you what, guys, we got to go to another commercial break here. All right, you ready? Let's see if we can do a different question here. Which is the deadliest hurricane in U.S. history? And I'll give you a hint. They said between 8 to 12,000 fatalities. Which is what was the deadliest hurricane in U.S. history? All right, it's somewhere between 8 to 12,000 fatalities. I'm not going to give you the year. The winds, they said 140 miles an hour. There's been, I think, higher winds than that. But that was pretty, that's pretty gnarly. All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that down. We're going to be right back.
Obvious.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mike McDowell, Russell Jackman, and Henry Smith. Second trivia question. Which is the deadliest hurricane in U.S. history? What do you think?
Katrina?
No, actually, so this one was 8 to 12.
Galveston? Was the Galveston one?
Yeah. Russell pipes in with Galveston in the year 1900. And it's funny, I've actually been there. I did a little tour, and there was this house, and they still had the watermarks, and it was like 8 feet high in the house. I mean, some old house from 1890 or something like that. Yeah, 8 to 12,000 fatalities. Amazing.
They still have the seawall up. They still have the seawall up, but the problem is it's with global warming, you're going to have to fix it again because the sea levels are going to rise and create even more problems for that.
We'll have rising tides. We'll have lower tides. We'll have global warming. We'll have global cooling. We'll have global. We'll always have. Okay. All right, Mike, you want to talk a little about the WNBA?
Not really, but I will. I guess the Valkyries, the new team in the Bay Area, is okay. They're in 8th place. Actually, no, I don't. I think something more interesting. And, what I noticed about the state of MLB, also known as Major League Baseball, on a Sunday afternoon in America, and it caught me by surprise, and I think a lot of the listeners and viewers can relate to this. I found it very interesting. So ABC is showing a WNBA game, and the ratings are still, they're still subpar. The attendance is abysmal. They're still losing $10 million a year, by the way. And then CBS is showing women's professional soccer. I got nothing. I love soccer, but I appreciate it when it comes down to the World Cup because it matters. But my point is during that day when I watched it, say there's not one MLB baseball game being shown, which is disturbing. Because I remember growing up, there was always the Saturday game, Sunday game, Tony Kubek, all those. Henry remembered, we all remembered, and so I just found it kind of sad. If that's it's what it says to me a little bit about baseball. Come on, you got to do a better job marketing. Let's see your game. They had the ESPN Sunday night game between the Cardinals and Cubs. It was a good game. But my point is, baseball needs to do something because, I mean, honestly, I'm going to say it with all due respect to the ladies, but for the most part, nobody really cares about the WNBA or the women's professional soccer league. And it just I don't know if that what you think about that or don't think about that, but I think baseball needs to
rating. They're trying to find a new source of ratings because baseball continues to decline in the ratings, and so they're trying to figure out what's going to be next because it seems like baseball is becoming much more regionalized as the years go on. What do you think, Henry?
You're absolutely right. There used to be a time you could find baseball 7 days a week. Now baseball has become a strategy. If you look at the 4 game series or the 3 game series, those games are played maybe Wednesday through Friday or Thursday through Saturday. You very seldom now see the Sunday matinee that used to be a big thing. So you don't see that. And the other thing, gentlemen, is that every major sport now has its own network. So they try to have as much content for their particular networks. So they try to strategize wherein they got to at least have maybe 2 to 3 games on their network per day, if possible. And then they join those networks with a local affiliate to show those games. Even in the minor leagues, if you see it, they do it with the local affiliates. Because the minor league, they do a whole week series of games. So the main thing in that era now in baseball, we see streaming has become more of today's world. Each Major League Baseball team has its own streaming network. So you click onto their streaming network, and they're able to receive those perceptions and data from the streaming.
But Henry, you know what? This is what I'm afraid of, and I think we're going to get there, and that's going to be baseball by the inning. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to watch each inning on a different channel, and you have to pay for each inning. And then soon it'll be like by the pitch. Like you want to see what happens to the next pitch.
Yeah, you might be right, but here's the reality though. If you gentlemen look back at last year, they changed the pitcher's process, and what I mean by that, the pitcher has to now pitch on a second time clock. So they implemented that to try to lessen the time of a baseball game, because a baseball game, man, if you're not careful, it'll run you to 4 hours. So they had to come up with a strategy that would be conducive to television timelines, because television productions were complaining that
the replay process.
Yeah,
it's funny that they get rid of the pitch. They add the pitch clock in, and then the replay process. They can sit there and contemplate their belly buttons for about a half hour while they're sitting there looking over a call.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because if it's too short a time, then the people who are going to the game might not feel like they got their money's worth.
I don't mind it being too short of a time because it's supposed to be conclusive. And so you're supposed to be able to tell right away. It's supposed to be a pretty obvious thing that if there's an error, you shouldn't have to be looking to the micromillimeter, to figure out if a guy's safe or out. If it's that close, okay, he's safe. But, it's when they replay it. But what kills me is when it's an obvious play, you think, okay, that's what it's going to be. And it takes about 10 minutes for them to make the call. And you're just like saying, what is taking so long? If it's that obvious, it shouldn't take that long for
Correct.
them to make. And it's that way with all the pro stuff, whether it's basketball or whether it's football. It's the replay stuff is getting a little bit out of hand, and how long they're taking to try to review every sometimes 3 or 4 plays out of 10 plays. You'll see a review call, and it's really killing the momentum.
It is. It's not like the old days where we would sit outside and listen to the radio and at a baseball game, i.e. On a Saturday matinee, we would sit outside and chew the fat by listening to 9 innings of baseball. If you notice now that it's not that many radio broadcasting in baseball anymore, unless it's for that ESPN or that local station. It used to be a national thing, and now everything is going local in baseball. If you saw the Atlanta Braves the other night, when they were playing, they were saying we're going now to our local affiliate. So I'm looking at baseball having the opportunity to just be a national streaming platform, unfortunately, and that's only because of the impact of different sports that we got. Like Mike was speaking about the WNBA, now the women's soccer, now NASCAR is beaming up with their platforms of truck racing, Indy racing, you name it. It's all kind of race that takes place now. Yeah.
Henry, I think, and Edward and Russell, we can all relate to this. There's something truly magical about the local broadcast. For example, the Giants are on a powerful 50,000 watt station, KNBR, for decades. The Dodgers were on KABC in Los Angeles. The Cardinals, KMOX in St. Louis, legendary station. The Cubs, WGN, again, legendary stations. Yankees, I think it was WABC. My point is, those stations were part of the tradition of baseball, and I hope it remains, because there's something. I mean, baseball, the audio portion of listening to a baseball game, and the crack of the bat, the play-by-play announcer, literally painting pictures. And for me, yes, I'm a Giants fan, but I must admit, I loved the Dodgers' Ben Scully. I just thought he was amazing. And I still like John Miller, the Giants announcer. But to that point, the Detroit Tigers announcer, the great, the guy I can't even think of his, but there are so many phenomenal announcers out there, just let you know. It's not, in San Francisco, we think John Miller is the guy. Well, yes, he's awesome, but he is not the only guy. I mean, the guy, what's his name? The great Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker was phenomenal with the Brewers. I love him. Come on.
Yeah, I was just listening
Anyways,
to his,
I don't know.
speech.
Do you still have a love affair for the radio broadcast, any of you? Or is it still relevant? Or
in certain markets, I would say in your Class A markets, yes. In your Class B markets, no. Because it once again, once the Nielsen reports go out and the Arbitron reports go out, you get those surveys back and you see the fluctuation in the listenership of baseball. Baseball one time was the number one sport in America, but now guess who's the number one sport in America? Football. Everybody waits on football. You should have saw the Arbitron ratings on football this past this past weekend. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, preseason outdoes all the other sports combined.
Yeah, and it's just the preseason.
It's just preseason
going on too. Okay, hey guys, you ready for our silly joke of the week?
No.
So Mike, no, you guys hate me when I do this. So my teachers told me I would never amount to much because I procrastinate. Boy, let me try this one again. My teachers told me I'd never amount to much because I procrastinate so much. I told them, yeah, just you wait.
All right.
We got a laugh out of Mike on that one, but
well, because you said procrastinate. What did you say?
procrastinate.
Procrastinate. Okay, I can't even say it. It was so good. That wasn't rehearsed either. Good job.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, you ready for our third trivia question? This is kind of interesting here. What was the New York Times Square originally called? Before it was New York Times Square, it was called something. And I'll tell you that they changed it in 1904 to honor the New York Times moving to the area and the construction of the Times Tower. So before it was the New York Times Square, or New York, as we all say, New York Times Square, it was something else. So what was that? All right, you're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be back with some closing comments and our famous thoughts for the day. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mike McDowell, Russell Jackman, and Henry Smith. Our third trivia question: what was the New York Times Square originally called? Anyone?
Old Times Square? I don't know.
Old Times Square? No, yeah. It's called Longacre Square.
After who?
I didn't know that. Henry, Mike was asking, how do people get a hold of you and tickets for the game? You're on mute right now, so we need to unmute you.
Yes, they can connect with us on the EWUTigerPride.com. That's EWUTigerPride.com.
Tiger Pride, that's good. And they got the colors of the Minnesota Vikings, purple. Yes.
Yeah.
And the games are a blast too. The football is really, really good. The bands are phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's a great Saturday if you're ever in Jacksonville, Florida. Come on out. Only game in town.
A lot of people probably go to watch the bands. No offense to the football.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I can't disagree with you on some of that.
All right. Okay, so here's our thoughts for the day. So I used to be a narcissist, but look at me now. Hey. Mike, you always turn away and laugh at that one, Mike. And,
we don't want to encourage you.
What's that?
We don't want to encourage you.
We don't want to encourage you.
Yeah, say they want to encourage you.
There's no stopping me. I'm sorry. And did you know that insanity is hereditary? You get it from your children. And for those of us, and Russell, he's got a couple of children, so he knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, they'll make you crazy if you weren't that way already.
That's it, exactly.
I can relate to that, Russell.
You have kids too, yeah. Actually, my kids are great, but still, every once in a while there'd be that. That's why I have the gray hair. My brother, 5 years older, hardly has any gray hair. Guess what?
Oh, man.
No children. All right, audience, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions and, of course, our famous thoughts for the day. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Hey, military, go Tigers.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
And hey, one quick thing I want to say: best of health to Gary to Greg Papa, who's suffering from cancer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's it, boys.